How's it going, everybody? Welcome into episode 10 of the Fantasy Facts podcast. Excited to have you all back in for our 10th episode, hitting double digits on the season. Really excited about that. We are talking running backs today. I think that's going to be really, really exciting to talk about. It's finally a position that's it's the most crucial position in fantasy football, I think. David would agree with that probably. As always, David is with me. As always, these episodes are dropping over on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, the Fantasy Facts Podcast. We are on the socials over at X at the Fantasy Facts, TikTok and Instagram, we're fantasy.facts. As always, facts is spelled F-A-X. Welcome in, and I'm going to let David say hey, and then we will. Do you want to jump into the running back rankings, David, or do you want to talk about that the Vikings have a quarterback?
Talking about QB1, K1. That boy tough.
Yeah, for those who didn't hear, Kyler Murray was named the starting quarterback of the Vikings today. David and I are pretty excited about that. Although in the Vikings Twitter sphere, X sphere, that's not necessarily everybody's opinion. So it'll be interesting for sure.
I get it. People wanted to believe in JJ McCarthy. We never have. So it makes it a lot easier to not be disappointed in it, I think, when you already didn't believe in JJ McCarthy to start. I get if you had faith in him to be the franchise guy, why it's a little bit frustrating to see him only play 10 games. But truth be told, unbiasedly as a Vikings fan, JJ McCarthy is terrible at football. As sad as it is to say. Best of wishes for him in his future, but I just don't think that's going to be in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be anywhere, to be completely honest. He had the worst completion percentage of all starting quarterbacks last year. Just wildly inaccurate throws, wildly stupid throws. And I would say the throws got to a point where it was like, that's not rookie quarterback mistakes. Like they trick you with a drop into a zone when you're expecting man or something like that. I mean, it was like overthrowing the ball to a guy who's double covered, and then the safety 10 yards behind that intercepts it. And it's like, there's one wide receiver and three defenders in that area. Like, what are we doing?
You want to talk about not giving him a chance. I get it. He only started like 10 games. He's going into a battle in training camp against a guy learning a brand new system, and he's been there for 3 years, and he knows it worse than Kyler did. Like, that's embarrassing for him, to be honest. You let a guy that's brand new to a system outperform you mentally as far as understanding reads and different aspects of the offense. I mean, he had the opportunity to learn under Darnold when Darnold had a good year, and then he went through a tough year last year, but he was still practicing and learning the system both years and this offseason. So to have that much more time and to still not be able to outperform him, I understand Kyler's like a 7-year NFL veteran, but he's brand new to that system, never played in a system like it at all. And so really Kyler was at the disadvantage in that aspect, and he still grasped it better than McCarthy did in training camp.
Yeah, 100%. And it just makes Kwesi look really, really bad because Kevin O'Connell and all of the staff were telling him that JJ McCarthy was not ready to be the starting quarterback last year, and he let Sam Darnold go anyways, and didn't come up with a contingency plan for if JJ McCarthy or if Sam Darnold left that wasn't JJ McCarthy. And I think that's why he got the axe and KOC did not get the axe last year.
As a Vikings fan, I still believe in KOC. I mean, we've seen it. I think 1 year sample size with JJ McCarthy and Max Brosmer and a little bit of Carson Wentz at quarterback is not an accurate representation of him as a head coach.
I agree, but this is the year though. This is the year. Like if it doesn't go well this year, he's gonna be on the block, and that's why he's not tying his cart to JJ McCarthy. Like I don't blame him. Like he's gonna go out swinging.
that we don't lose KOC because I think it would be a mistake. I think he's a good head coach. And
I don't think we will. I think Kyler will at least be an average quarterback, and
yeah, I
with an
mean, I
average
agree.
quarterback, the
And
Vikings will
that's
be
why I'm
a
excited as a fan
relatively
because
successful
I
team.
will think Kyler Murray will outperform McCarthy. I gotta say, I'm really excited for the first couple weeks of the season, having some friends that are Packers and Bears fans, and really hoping can show them something. We'll see what happens.
You talking about the fourth place Chicago Bears?
Dude, I cannot tell you. Packers fans are something, but like Bears fans, my goodness, man. Not only are they like cheering for the wrong team, they're also just like delusional. I mean, I have coworkers out here talking about how JJ McCarthy's better than Kyler Murray, and the Vikings aren't in a better spot with Kyler because he was so terrible and the Cardinals sucked. I mean,
I
oh
mean, a
man.
lot of people would agree with you, but obviously, you know that or agree with them. Sorry, you know I agree with you.
And when you
Um,
dig into it, like we've talked about in other episodes, it's not the case. I mean,
correct. And the Bears are in for a rude awakening this year. I think they won so many games by such fine margins on random crap at the end, like the Hail Mary
and
in Washington.
we can understand that
And
as Vikings fans because we went through a season where we won a bunch of one-score games and close games, and then the next year we saw that regression. So
correct.
get
And
ready
their
for it,
schedule is going to
Chicago.
be the Bears have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL this year. I think it's going to be a real welcome to how hard it is in the NFL to sustain success for Ben Johnson, for Caleb Williams, for everybody. Um,
I do think long term they're going to be okay. I mean, Ben
yeah,
Johnson's going to
yeah,
be a
no,
good
me
coach.
too,
Caleb's
me too as
great, but
well, me too as
just I
well.
think this year they're going to be a little bit. I think the fans are going to be a bit disappointed with how the season goes. Um, can't say I'll be disappointed though. It'll be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my boy Swift's going to be stuck there. Um, honestly, good for
Well,
him
Swift's a
because
good.
Chicago. I gotta say, as much as I don't like the Chicago Bears as an organization, I have a lot of respect that they're the first team that's really treated Swift the right way in the NFL. So I do appreciate them for that. That's about it though.
Yeah. Speaking of DeAndre Swift, we're covering running backs on today's episode, as we talked about. We're going to be talking through our top 20 running backs, so we'll try to move through them relatively quickly. The whole show is dedicated to them. Um, and coming in at number 20, if we're starting from the bottom, um, it's really a two-way tie for 20. We've got DeAndre Swift and Quinshon Judkins. So as David alluded to, DeAndre Swift running back with the Bears, Quinshon Judkins over in Cleveland. Um, I'm gonna let David talk about Swift because I know everything he says I'm gonna agree with because we both know what DeAndre Swift is. We know that his ceiling is capped. We know that his floor is very, very safe. And we know that he always finishes as a back end RB2. And I think David's going to say all those things. So I'll talk about Judkins a little bit. This is a tough one for me. I love Judkins. I think he's really, really talented. This is totally a situational thing that I have him as low as I do. I believe I have him at the RB20. David's got him RB21, I think. I would have to look at David's rankings, but I have him RB20, so right where our consensus falls. I just don't see how this team is an effective field stretching team, and it's just going to mean that the box is loaded against Judkins, and I think you're going to see more of what you saw last year, which is a lot of work and really, really bad efficiency. He's going to be touchdown dependent, I think. The weeks he scores, you're going to be happy. The weeks he doesn't, you're not going to be happy. And that's just how Judkins is going to be. So both of these guys at 20 for me are like, if you're drafting them to be like one of your flex options, sure. But I don't really know if I want to rely on these guys to be one of my top two running backs because I just don't know if I see the upside there with either one.
Yeah, alluding off what Drew said, both of these guys are kind of guys with a capped upside, and obviously those are for different reasons. So Judkins is just being in a poor offense, and he doesn't get a lot of pass work. So that's gonna cap his upside. He's a good runner. He's gonna score touchdowns. But that touchdown upside is limited by being on Cleveland just because they don't have a quarterback or an offense in general really right now. So if that team turns into something over time, he's gonna go up in our rankings, obviously in future years. But right now that upside is clearly capped by not being able to score enough touchdowns, and then the big thing is the passing work. He doesn't get passing work in Cleveland, and you could look at the stats last year to back that up. Swift on the other
And
hand,
Samson's an excellent pass catcher. I don't know.
exactly,
Yeah.
and Samson's on the field for those pass catching downs. And then going back to Swift, his upside different. The biggest reason being he's in a great offense, so it's nothing to do with that. It's that essentially towards the end of the season last year, we saw a 50-50 split with Kyle Monangai. We've talked about it a lot in our division breakdown, so go back and look at that. A little bit of that has shifted for me. I do think I do think DeAndre Swift is just a more talented running back than Kyle Monangai. I went back and looked at the stats between the two last year as far as efficiency. Swift was way more heavily involved in the pass game, was more efficient with those, and he was also considerably more efficient rushing wise. His yards per carry was quite a bit better in almost every single game during the season. And just because of how good of a system that is in Chicago with Ben Johnson, even if he's not on the field all the time, that doesn't mean he can't be putting up fantasy numbers. It really alludes back to when Ben Johnson was in Chicago. He had Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and they were both fantasy relevant players. Now, I don't think Kyle Monangai is on the level of either of those guys, and Swift is more on the level of the David Montgomery, but because he's the more talented back between the two, I have no problem with the timeshare. I think he's still a very safe play, and I think he has a little bit more upside than people think going into the season just because he's so talented. It really comes down to how Chicago's offense performs, but if he gets involved in the passing game, that keeps trending in the right direction and his efficiency stays up, he's going to finish where he was, and he was the RB15 last year. So we do know he's capable of that. And really what it's going to come down to in Chicago's offense for the running backs is who happens to be on the field on those goal line touches because they split carries so much or split drives. So Swift gets some good luck. It could help boost him even higher than that ranking, but his floor is right here. He's not going to finish outside the top 23, 24 running backs, even if things go poorly. And we've seen that historically. So you're drafting someone who's probably not going to break into the RB1 category there, but he's also not going to fall outside of a flex player. And I actually feel pretty safe having him in an RB2 slot this year just because of that safety net. And then Judkins, like I said, opposite reasons. He's not going to break into that RB1 range just because his upside is severely capped by his skill set and the offense.
Fair enough. Thank you, David, for breaking that down. At number 19, which is actually number 18, typo on the show, Doc. We have, I think this will surprise people, Jeremiah Love, the rookie running back for the Arizona Cardinals. I can just see everybody listening right now just pounding the table, like, what are you talking about? Jeremiah Love is being entirely way overhyped from a fantasy perspective for this season in a redraft league. He's going to be playing on a team that their win total is 3.5. They're going to be losing all the time. He's a rookie. He's going to be sharing time with multiple running backs. James Conner and Tyler Algier are both there. I think they're both going to see the field in addition to Love. And he's still going as a very, very clear second round pick. It's crazy. Please, please, please listen to us. Do not draft Jeremiah Love in that range. He is literally Ashton Genty from last year. He is a really great top 10 rookie running back that got drafted to a terrible situation. It's going to be a bad, bad offense, and it's not going to go well. And if you draft him in that range, you will be disappointed. So outside of that, I don't know if David has anything to add, but there's just no way that it adds up to his draft cost. And I don't even, is he being drafted at his ceiling, or is he being drafted even higher than that?
I think he's above his ceiling at his ADP, and it's not like we said, it's not because of his talent. You already see clips of him.
I actually love him as a prospect. Like from a
He's
dynasty, like
awesome.
I want my
He's
hands all
like
over him in
he's
dynasty.
like Bijan level prospect. It's just like you see the clips of him already in their training camp. Him like running around like 35 guys, and the reason he has to do it is because every single player is behind the line of scrimmage half a second after the ball's snapped because their O line is terrible. Um, right there, that tells you everything you need to know. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. If you don't have an offensive line or offensive skill players, you are not doing anything. And on top of that,
It's Genty of last year. It's Saquon at first with the Giants, right? Like
and on top of all that, like Drew said, they have like four running backs that may be involved. We're talking James Conner. I know he's coming off a broken ankle, but they kept him around. And then they went out and they signed Tyler Algier for honestly a considerable amount of money, considering they went and drafted Jeremiah Love. And then on top of that, they still have Trey Benson under contract, who they use and like quite a bit. And so what you're looking at is 100% more of a timeshare than people want to admit. Long term, I'm not worried. Like dynasty wise, he's going to end up being the RB1 workhorse over time. But what you're looking at is they're not just not going to play those other guys at all, especially James Conner, because he's been around that team. He's a veteran. People are going to lead. Like, he's going to get on the field some. He's going to steal some early down work. He's not going to steal any passing work from Jeremiah Love. If anybody's going to do that, it's going to be Trey Benson. He'll be the change of pace on third down if Jeremiah Love needs a rest. But Algier might be on the field more than we want.
and he
He's
might
a
get a
former
lot of
1,000-yard
work
rusher.
on their limited goal line opportunities.
It's scary. I mean, Algier just feels like he wanted to be Bijan's career fantasy killer, and guess where he is now on the next elite prospect. So that's why he's where he
It's a
is.
shared pie on a terrible pie.
Yeah, you don't want pieces of a shared pie on one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
Dynasty wise, he's awesome.
It's like an apple pie where
Redraft, I'm staying away.
it's like an apple pie where somebody accidentally put salt instead of sugar.
I mean, what are we saying? Like, if I'm on the board, I got to be honest with you. I feel a lot more comfortable having DeAndre Swift in my lineup than Jeremiah Love. Because
Uh,
Jeremiah Love might have weeks where he scores like 3 points because he can't even get past the line of scrimmage. I'm really out
That's
on him
true.
this year.
That's true, but I also think he has the potential to have much bigger weeks than DeAndre Swift.
I mean, in general,
Um,
I think I'm out.
but
on
again, we're
Jeremiah
we're
Love.
debating
And clearly,
we're
if he's
debating
at
two
that
guys
ranking,
that are we're debating two guys that are rounds and rounds apart. So
yeah.
it's not an important
That's
thing
what
to
I'm saying.
debate.
At his ADP, clearly we're both out because
Yeah, don't
we have
draft him.
him ranked.
Just
Like, yeah,
don't.
just don't.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't draft him. Let somebody in your league who's like, oh, I'm a ball knower. He's a really good rookie. Nobody knows who he is. I'm gonna take him and prove everybody. Like, let
It's
somebody
kind
else
of
do
like
that.
Marvin Harrison. I mean, we already saw an elite prospect in Arizona where people drafted him way too high and then he sucked.
For me, it's like so similar to Genty, except Genty didn't even
Yeah.
really have to share.
I just, yeah, so it's even worse than Genty. We should probably
Um,
keep moving, but yeah, just
yeah,
don't
yeah,
draft Jeremiah Love. I think we can both agree on that one. And hopefully
yeah.
our explanation helped you a bit there.
At 17, we've got another two-way tie. These are two of my favorite mid-round running back targets. Cam Scadaboo from the New York Giants and Travis Achan Jr., apparently, from the New Orleans Saints. For those of you who don't know who I'm referring to, because it's somebody you've never heard of, that's Travis Etienne of last year. Really, really like both of these guys. Like them for different reasons. Scadaboo, I like the talent. I like the lack of depth behind him. And I think he's going to be a absolute monster in terms of workload. Achan Jr., I like because I've already talked about this in our divisional breakdown podcast. I think the Saints are going to be one of the surprises of the NFL this year. I think they're going to be significantly, significantly improved, and I think he's going to be a part of that. And for those reasons, I like him, especially because he doesn't cost that much. I like both of them. I don't have much to
Yeah,
add.
I like ETN as a as kind of a mid-range target, like Drew said. Just for reference, I'm trying to look. I have ETN at uh, 14, and Drew has him at 19. So I'm higher on him actually, and it's just because I think like Drew said, the Saints' offense is going to be better, and I think ETN is just good in general, and so I expect him to be efficient with those touches. I think
And
he has
I see
honestly a
the
pretty
upside to
similar
crack the top
play
10.
style to Kamara, and we've seen Kamara be efficient in that offense, and so I know
Yeah.
Kamara's still there, but he's ancient and doesn't worry me.
Yeah, yeah.
Scatabo wise, I like him. I think the biggest thing for him, somewhat like Judkins, is going to be he's going to be a little bit touchdown dependent at times, but the thing is he's also used in the passing game. Despite not necessarily profiling as a pass catching running back, he's going to be out there and get grabs. It definitely doesn't help that he's best friends with the quarterback, so he's going to be dumping the ball off to him and feel comfortable doing that. And then the other thing that I really like about him that might go under the radar is the Giants aren't going to want to use Jackson Dart inside like the 5 yard line. It's very similar to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson averages over the past few years only 4 carries inside the 5 yard line per season. And I expect the Giants to do a similar type thing just because we've already seen Jackson Dart deal with issues like concussions and injuries from taking those hits. And on top of that, you have Cam Scatterbo, who is probably the most fearless running back in the NFL and going to have no problem pounding his nose right down the middle. So anytime they're inside the 5, I mean, look out, Scatterbo's running it up the middle. Definitely caps Jackson Dart a little bit, but that's why I'm so high on him. I mean, he's gonna have a solid season, and he looks great coming off that injury, doing backflips and stupid crap, but he looks healthy. So
Yeah. I don't think it caps Dart. I mean, I don't know how many rushing touchdowns Dart had last year, but um he's got the rushing floor. Like he's going to scramble and run between the tens. And
yeah, in between the 10-20s, that's where Dart's gonna get his work, and then
and that
Scatterbo's
rushing
gonna come
floor
in.
is if he's an average passer is gonna right, like
Yeah,
that's why
I
Dart's
just
so
mean he might
enticing from a
not get as many
fantasy.
rushing touchdowns as
Yeah, I just don't
some.
really know if I even profiled him to have a lot of rushing touchdowns to begin with, but um I see the potential for both these guys. These are the first names we're saying that I could see how the path works for like a top 12 finish. Um, Not necessarily saying I'm banking on it, but I can see the path there. Love, Swift, Judkins.
I
No.
feel pretty comfortable saying Scatterbo has a decent chance at finishing in the top 12. His efficiency pre-injury was there. So if he's
So not
healthy the whole
HN
season,
Jr.
I think he has it. But
He's done
I
it
think
before.
the situation. Yeah, I just think the situation. I like Scadaboo's situation better. I
That's
actually think
crazy because
Tyrone
I like
Tracy.
the Saints. The Saints are a much better
I
place,
just
I
mean
think.
like as far as him getting such a big workload, like I think he's going to be out there all the time. And it's interesting because I actually think Tyrone Tracy's a decent running back, but I just think the Giants like Scadaboo and they're just going to use him. Uh,
And I don't know
each
why
the
they don't throw the ball to Tyrone Tracy and he's a converted wide
No,
receiver.
I
It doesn't
know
make
it's
any
really
sense.
really interesting.
But
Yeah, but no,
anyways,
I think he has that upside, but I would if I was banking on it, I would say there's a better chance that Scadaboo jumps into that range from his ADP this year than HN. I think HN's safe has a safer floor probably just because Scat's so new to the NFL. I mean, we've seen HN ETN do it for many years at a higher level. So I mean, both of them are good picks, like we said in that range. But I'm a big Scat guy, which is funny because when he came into the league, I wasn't. But he proved to me that he was good. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm just realizing that I'm more and more like all in on the Saints as a team. Um, Improving a lot, which means fantasy goodness. So, at number 16, we've got Kyron Williams. Um, I feel like I
I
never,
gotta
ever,
say,
ever come out of a draft with
yeah,
Kyron Williams.
I
I
gotta say, I mean, I'll look at where we have him. I have Kyron at 17. Drew has him at 13. So I guess I'll start because I have concerns, to be honest, about Kyron. We talked about how good the
as we're
Rams are going to
talking, I
be.
think I need to drop him.
Yeah, we've talked about how good the Rams are going to be and how Uh, word for word, Drew, in the last episode. We might have weeks where Blake Corum's carrying the ball 20 times in the second half. That's limiting Kyron's upside. And we already started seeing the timeshare with Corum. I think Kyron Williams is a fine low end RB2 just because he's going to get carries. But he worries me more than anybody we've talked about. Just because they have another running back that I think can do everything he can do. I really don't think Kyron Williams is that special. I think he's been workloaded into a fantasy relevant player.
I mean, he did the timeshare thing last year and he was fine. The timeshare is not what scares me. What scares me is I think the Rams are going to blow the absolute doors off of a lot of teams, and you're just going to get a nothing burger because they're going to score 4 touchdowns in the first half, and it's going to be Corum for 1 and Stafford throwing to Adams and Nakua for 3. And then you're like, oh, I've got Kyron Williams with 10 carries for 55 yards, and now he's not playing anymore.
There's going to be weeks
and I mean, I don't even know if he plays there, but then you're going to start seeing like Ronnie Rivers out there and stuff. So,
that's a good question. Does he play there? I don't know. But yeah, no.
So I just worry that this is my worry about all the Rams pieces. And I drafted Puka in Dynasty, so I mean, it's my worry about Puka like this year. It's my worry about all the Rams pieces this year is that if you don't get it in the first half, you're not going to get it. And we saw that with the Eagles the year their defense was so dominant with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You had weeks where it was like you got nothing because if they didn't do it in the first half, they didn't do it. And I'm just so worried that that's what's going to happen with the Rams pieces this year as well.
Yeah. I think Drew would move him down if he had the chance now. And I think, let me ask you this.
I would.
Would you take HN and Scat over him?
I've got Derrick Henry behind him. I think that's a mistake. I've got Breece Hall behind him. They're similar for me. I've got Javonte Williams behind him. I think that's a mistake as well.
Here's my thought.
He's more in the 15 range, 15,
Williams,
16.
Javonte Williams is a safer Kyron Williams because he's going to get the workload and there's not another great running back to steal the carries. He might not get the passing game.
And the Cowboys' defense is a lot worse. Yeah,
and he might not get the passing game work, but I don't think Kyron gets a lot of work out of the passing game either. And so, really, I think he's just a safer Kyron Williams. And he is ranked 1 spot above, so this is a good transition to him.
And looking at my rankings, I think that's a mistake on my part.
So, yeah, jumping into Javonte then, who we have at, 14, 15?
Yeah.
14?
When we first started mocking and starting doing things, I was like Javonte Williams and just moved on to the next name. Like, I love getting him now. I love getting him. Where he's going.
That just drafted him
so much
Dynasty
value.
As my RB2 unexpectedly. I can tell you I feel the same because...
See, for me, like, I know he got the contract, but for Dynasty, he's a little more worrisome just with the injury history and blah, 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 blah.
I'm not talking Dynasty. I just mean, like, to be an RB2 on your team.
Yes,
he's
love
one
it.
Of the safest, if not the safest RB2s because
yeah.
He's just going to workload his way to 1,200 yards like he did last year and touchdowns if he's healthy.
And they have,
the passing game work. He doesn't need it.
They have nobody on that team that is capable of being a complimentary running back. No one.
I've seen stuff about Jaden Blue looking good. If Jaden Blue's on the field, it doesn't matter because he's going to steal the passing game work that Javonte already doesn't have. Javonte Williams is a terrible pass-catching running back. So he doesn't need that to be fantasy relevant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So David and I, there you go. We love Javonte Williams at his current draft
stock. He's Quinshon Judkins on a good offense. That's his fantasy outlook.
Yep.
I think, yeah.
And again, I spoke to it, right? Like, Kyron, his defense is so good, it worries me. The Cowboys' defense is going to be middle of the road at best. They were terrible last year. They put a lot of time and resources into it this offseason. Again, it's like the Bengals. Like, you could put a lot of time and resources in, but making the 30th best defense in the NFL better than 20th in a year is really hard. So, I'm curious to see, but for me, like, the Cowboys and the Bengals are like teams that I'm targeting because the explosive offense paired with the not so great defense. Number 13, we've got Breece Hall. I think David and I are probably, I don't know where David has him, I guess for sure, but I think David and I are both probably a little higher on Brees Hall than he's going. Um, Maybe that's incorrect, but
I have him at 12. You have him
okay.
at 15. So yeah, I'm higher on him. For me, it's
Yeah,
just
but I
we
just
we
said that I would move him ahead of Kyron, so he's really more
yeah.
in the
So we both
13,
are.
14
For
range for
me,
me.
it just comes down to he's really skillful. They went and gave that money to him. I know we've seen them use more than one running back, but they gave him his extension.
Not going
He's
to
gonna be
happen
on
this
the
year.
field,
Brees
and
Hall's gonna have one of the biggest workloads of any running back in
yeah,
the NFL this year
100%. And on
because
top of that workload,
Geno Smith is going to throw him the
yeah,
ball
I was just gonna
so
yeah, I was
many
just getting into that.
freaking times. It's going to be
He's been
incredible.
playing with mobile quarterbacks for the last few years. Like when you have Justin Fields, he doesn't dump the ball down. We have the absolute opposite situation as a Justin Fields this year. And that just helps Brees Hall immensely. We've seen his work as a pass catcher. We've seen his work as a rusher. He's a great running back. I mean, we saw it when he was a rookie, when he had Aaron Rodgers.
I
And
saw him play live in college many times at Iowa State. Excellent. I mean, just
I'm
incredible.
excited. I think just having that at quarterback, Gino, is going to help his fantasy value immensely. Really excited to see what he can do, honestly.
100%. 100%. He's one of those guys that's going to volume himself into the top 15. I think it's going to be inefficient. I think he's going to lack touchdowns. Um, but
But he also
he's
has a
gonna
big
catch
play
the ball so
potential
many
too.
times. He's gonna get so many carries. I
He
mean,
will have big plays too.
50, 60. I mean, what percentage are we talking about of plays that go to him and Garrett Wilson? I mean,
Together, they're getting at
75%.
least you can't go that far. I'd say they get 65%
Garrett
of
Wilson,
the
Garrett
touches.
Wilson eats a 30% target share for
Yeah,
breakfast.
yeah, yeah. It's fair,
If they
but
run the
that's
ball
30%
40%
of
of the time,
targets. If you're throwing the ball 60% of the time, 30% of the time, yeah, I'd say like 65% of the touches are going to those two.
I think it might even be more because he's going to get all the carries and he's going to get part of the passing game share. I think probably the second biggest chunk.
Yeah,
And
I
Garrett
mean,
Wilson's going to eat
regardless,
a 30%
he's gonna
target
be
share.
good. And the thing is, like Drew said, he's gonna volume his way, but he also is elusive and he has big play potential.
Hmm.
So even on those weeks where he's inefficient and inefficiently getting himself to value, he might catch a screen pass for 70 yards and can score a touchdown.
And
So he's
they finished fourth in the division last year, so they're going to have an easier schedule. And I mean, I know week 1 like they play the Titans. Like I bet they're favored. Maybe they're not, but I mean that game is going to be close, right? So because of the fact that they finished fourth, there's going to be games on their schedule this year where they are not going to get blown out. Um, and
yeah,
it's
to
going to
me, going back to like we talked about Judkins, we talked about Javonte Williams. We talked about Kyron, how none of those guys are really getting pass work, but they're going to volume their way to being like fantasy relevant. He's going to volume his way to being fantasy relevant, but the carries, the reason he's higher than those guys is because he has that floor they have there with the touches, but he has the upside because he's the most elusive and big play potential back we've talked about so far today. I would say Swift has that upside too, but his work share is not large enough, so it doesn't matter. He's the biggest upside I talked about, 100%.
maybe I just
I
need
would
to
say.
convince myself of him because he's my RB1 in Dynasty. um, I have very good wide receivers, guys. I took running back late. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about Brees Hall, and I will, since he's on my RB1 for Dynasty, I will speak to his Dynasty a little bit. Like the potential is there for the situation to get a lot better fast, right? Like Aaron Glenn's on his way out. Geno Smith is not going to be there post this year. They're probably going to have a good draft pick, and the quarterback draft class coming up next is very, very good. So if the Jets find a quarterback, I mean, people could be like, Brees Hall could be a top, you know, 10, pushing top 5 running
He
back
is
in
the
a
first
year or
person
two.
today, I think, outside of potentially Scadaboo, I think has this potential. I think him and maybe Scadaboo are the first guys we've talked about that could be going as RB1s next season.
Fair enough. Number 12, we've got Derrick Henry.
We got to say a lot other than he's going to volume his way to being
He's going to
fantasy
touchdown his way.
relevant
And he's going to score a lot he's going to score a lot of touchdowns this year because the Ravens offense is going to be much less archaic. It's going to be fun to watch. They're going to unlock Lamar. They're going to unlock Zay Flowers. And it's going to lead to a lot of goal line work for Derrick Henry. David just talked about how they don't like to use Lamar inside the 5. You know why. They have Derrick Henry. He's literally unstoppable on the goal line. When the ball gets inside the 5, it's a Derrick Henry touchdown a large percentage of the time. And I think the Ravens are going to be really, really fun on offense this year with the, I forget his name, but I think it's Declan Doyle coming over from the Ben Johnson system to modernize that offense a little bit. So Derrick Henry, another guy I was like not really thinking about, starting to be more and more comfortable with taking him again, especially where he's going. I see the top 10. I see the top 10 upside easily.
I think he's just so safe.
13 because I would move Kyron down.
So I just think he's so safe that, like, at worst he's a really good RB2, and at best he's an RB1, and so that's why he's right outside the top 10 for me. He's gonna
and you can draft him as an RB2, and he's gonna finish there at worst.
It's sad. You're starting to see, like, he's getting older. We don't have a lot of time left with him, but we're going to enjoy what we can, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Number 11, we've got Omarion Hampton, running back of the Chargers. I think David and I both have him as like top 10 / fringe top 10. Maybe like 10 and 11 in our rankings, if I remember correctly. The upside's there. I could see this being a top 5 guy.
We not skip Josh Jacobs. We never talked about Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah, we jumped from Javonte at 15 to Breece Hall at 13. My bad. Yeah, Josh Jacobs at 14.
Derrick Henry light, if he's playing the whole season?
Yeah, it's just a matter of... Yeah. I'm never going to come out of a draft with him, and it's for 2 reasons. One, I can get Breece Hall later. I can get Derrick Henry at the same time. I can get a couple guys we're going to talk about in a minute at the same time. And so for me, it's just like I never come out of the draft with Josh Jacobs. And then the elephant in the room, of course, is that he could get suspended at any point during this season. For that reason, though, I do see Josh Jacobs slide more than a lot of these other names at running back. So, I mean, if he slides and you scoop him up, you just have to make sure that you have the Packers backups on your team. You just have to. Can't leave the draft without him.
I mean, realistically, if he doesn't get suspended, he's going to be a good value if he's sliding. I mean, he's good. I mean, look at his numbers. He plays well.
When's the last time he finished outside the top 15?
I don't know, but if he's healthy, he's going to be there. It might have been the year before last because I think he was pretty banged up the whole year, but...
Regardless. Injury, yeah, of course.
If he's healthy and he's not suspended, he's going to be pretty good value where he's going, I think. But I'm really concerned about the suspension.
I think he's like Javonte too. I don't think there's good running backs on his team besides him.
No, and he is, and the Packers are going to be a solid offense, and so he's going to score touchdowns. Like, I mean, I looked him as like a Derrick Henry because he's not really a pass catcher. He broke the record for like most receptions in the NFL ever without a touchdown catch because he doesn't catch touchdowns. So he's kind of like those same type of player. That's why he's more of a really safe RB2 for me.
So yeah. if he slides, where are you comfortable taking him with the suspension risk and all those things?
I'm not taking him until. I just don't think it's worth it because
he's like his ADP is like early 3rd on ESPN. I've been doing some mock drafts. For me, it's like it's like early 4th.
I think it has to be at least 4th, and I have to know for sure I have somebody I can play until he's back, and I would consider it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you're taking him in the 4th round, you can easily draft 2 running backs before him, right? So that's a possible strategy. And like I said, if you draft him, you have to come out of the draft. I would draft Marshawn Lloyd and what's his name, Brooks.
Yeah, you have to take both because you don't know.
You don't know which one it's going to be,
yep.
And you 100%. Just have to stash both those guys with your last 2 picks or whatever. So, Omarion Hampton, number 11. He's the first guy I see top 5 potential, I think. David and I have already talked on the divisional breakdowns. We're really high on the Chargers this year. David picked them to win the division. I picked them to finish second because their schedule sucks, but I really wanted to pick them to win the division. Um, I have no problem taking him in the second round where he's going. You can sometimes, I've noticed at the turns, get him early third in certain drafts. Scoop him up, please, at that draft cost.
I think
Um,
his ADP is going to continue to go down too after what Mike McDaniels said.
yeah, remember when
Let
he
me
said the
tell
same
you,
stuff about
yeah,
Ollie
I was going to
Gordon
say,
and all
let
that
me tell
stuff, and
everybody,
then
Mike
HN was
McDaniels is just a weird guy. He says weird things. And let's say there's a situation where Keaton Mitchell's on the field a decent amount. He's not the same player as Hampton. Um, and we've already seen in Mike McDaniel's offense a season where Raheem Mostert was the RB5 and Devon Achane was the RB6. So even if Keaton Mitchell's on the field a little bit, it doesn't concern me for Omarion Hampton's fantasy output. And I think a lot of it is smoke. I actually really like Kyron
and the
Mitchell, like we've
offensive
said.
line is healthy.
Yeah, and we've said I like Kyron Mitchell. I mean, I've been in on him his whole career. I think he's great. I hope he gets a little bit of work because I think he can do a
Keaton
lot.
Mitchell.
Keaton Mitchell, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I think he can do a lot. I think he could be used on the field at the same time as Hampton at times, honestly. But regardless, I think it's a lot of smoke. But if it's not, it still doesn't worry me. And so I hope his ADP keeps going down because he's going to be a good value.
Me too, because I pick at the 2-3 turn. Um,
I don't.
I know
I
you pick
pick
at
at
the
the
one
three
two
four
turn, so
turn.
I don't have to worry
Yeah,
about you scooping him away from me.
he will not be on my. You never know. Maybe I'll take him there. No, I won't.
That might be a stretch.
I want
Um,
Justin Jefferson. I guess we'll talk about him in a little bit.
at number 9 in a two-way tie, we've got Chase Brown and Saquon Barkley. Um, I'm gonna let David talk about Saquon Barkley selfishly because Chase Brown's my favorite running back on this list.
That's kind
Like,
of funny because I have Chase Brown ranked higher than you.
I mean, again, I'm ranking him at like where I think he's gonna finish average, right? But
Yeah.
like,
No, I feel
I see the potential. You can quote me on this. I see the top 3 potential here. Top 3.
Chase Brown. I mean, I have Chase Brown at
He's
my
an
RB8.
insane value, and it hurts me so much when I'm doing mock drafts for our league of record because I'm taking Jamar Chase at 3, and especially now that I got Puka in Dynasty, I'm not double dipping on Puka. So it's because he's another one of those guys that apparently can get suspended. Did you see? Did you see his thing? It was like Puka Nakua could be suspended. In parentheses, biting / anti-Semitic comments. There's like the most random assortment of things that he's doing. Um, to be fair to the anti-Semitic comments, he did come out right away and say he didn't really understand the context behind the statement. So I do think that that was more so a place of being naive than actual feelings. But he still said it. He still got to deal with the consequences. But
Save
anyways,
that for the
what I
next episode,
what
though.
I was saying
See
is
where he ends up on the list.
it sucks for me because I take Jamar Chase at 3, and then I come around to the
Ooh.
2-3 turn, and Chase Brown is sitting there,
I didn't
and I
think
want to
about
pull the
that.
trigger so freaking bad, but it's really hard to have a running back and a wide receiver from the
So a
same team.
lot of players from a team you hate.
Is it? Can I just still do it?
I don't. I know they're both awesome, but like that's a lot of stake in the Bengals. If Joe Burrow gets hurt, you are D1 cooked if you start like that.
Chase Brown was excellent once Joe Burrow got injured last year.
Yeah, I know, but you're not getting the Jamar Chase output. But
Now
regardless,
I can't do it because there's also a decent chance that I'm drafting Joe Burrow. So,
yeah. Holy crap.
I said already I'm targeting Cowboys and I'm targeting
Yeah.
Bengals. I love those
Well,
offenses. So
going back to it, I have him at my RB8. Drew has him at his RB10. Yeah, and I have Saquon at my RB10, and Drew has Saquon at his RB8. So we have those guys in our 8 and 10 spots just flipped.
flip them
I
for me
think Chase
too.
Brown's upside is much higher. So I guess now me and Drew are doing the exact same order, which would actually make them not tied. It would put Chase Brown higher,
Chase
and it
Brown
would
would be
drop
eighth.
Saquon potentially below Hampton. Um, but anyways, yeah,
I
Chase
like
Brown's gonna be good.
I like
He's
Saquon
excellent.
though. Saquon you can get good value on at the 2-3 turn as well. Um,
And people are down on him after last year, and I think the offense will be better. He does
I don't
worry me
like
a
him
little
from a
bit just getting
dynasty
older.
perspective at all. I don't know how
Right.
much tread he's got left on the tires,
I
but
would agree.
from a redraft perspective, he's good value. Um, Especially like again, I'm picking at the 3 pick, so there's the potential for me to come out with like Hampton Barkley or a Ken Bone Walker Barkley combo at the turn, and like Saquon Barkley as an RB2. Like, come on, easy.
Well, speaking of Kenneth Walker,
Yep, this is the other guy
number
along with Chase Brown that I have ranked outside the top 5 that I see the top 3 potential.
and once again, Drew has him at 9. I have him at 7, so I'm a little bit higher on him. So I'll start. I think Kenneth Walker in the Chiefs' offense is going to feast. We saw how good he was in a limited workload, and they don't have another running back that can really compete for touches. Shout out my boy Emmett Johnson from Minnesota, rookie there. Think he's a good player, but he's nothing like. I mean, Kenneth Walker's going to steal the workload, and so I'm excited to see what he can do. Honestly, he can do everything on the field, and having Mahomes. I mean, I already saw a quote from Mahomes. He wants to run the ball less than he did last year, so that's going to limit Mahomes' fantasy value. That was what made him so much better last year than he had been the years before. He was running the ball quite a bit more. But the quote was, "I want to do less running than I did last year. I want to turn around and hand the ball off to number 9." That's Kenneth Walker, by the way. And so I'm really excited to see what he can do in the Chiefs offense.
K9. That should be his new nickname, or is it already his nickname?
K9. I don't know, but I'm
Bring in the
excited.
K9. Bring in the K9 unit.
I think
Um,
he is that guy that's outside that top 10 where he's going. But I honestly think he could be a first round pick next year in redraft leagues because I
for
think
sure.
he's gonna feast. And
For sure.
so I'll let Drew take over, Mister K9.
Yeah, been doing a lot of mock drafts out of the 3 pick on ESPN. Like I said, I come away with Kenneth Walker, Saquon Barkley, Omarion Hampton, Derrick Henry, a lot, and I usually come away with 2 of them. Um, and like I said, I would love if I could also pick Chase Brown, but I think I'm gonna have Jamar Chase, which limits me there. And to be honest, I think Chase Brown has the hype. Like I see him go mid second round, like people grab him earlier than kind of where he's ranked a lot. I don't see that as much with Kenneth Walker. He's almost always there when I'm picking at 17. Um, and I scoop him up a ton. And I oftentimes can get Barkley or Derrick Henry coming back around at 23 as the RB2. And those possible pairings of running backs along with Jamar Chase makes me very, very happy. So, yeah, Kenneth Walker, sky's the limit there. I can really, really see how it could go well. Number 7, we've got James Cook. I actually like James Cook. I think James Cook is going to be really, really solid again this year. He's just getting drafted too high. He's going as a late round, first round
Yeah.
pick.
Interestingly enough, I think I actually have him as like the RB 5 or 6, and Drew has him as the RB 5 or 6. It's just worked based off of like rankings that he went down. But we actually both have him higher than his consensus ranking, which is kind of funky.
It's kind of sad because
Uh,
the next 3 names, including him, I think both of us are completely out on. Is that fair to say where they're being drafted?
are we talking James
We're
Cook?
talking James Cook the third, and then we're talking Devon Achane and Jonathan Taylor.
I got where Devon Achan's going. I'm out, but he's growing on me just because I think he's gonna touch the ball every single play for the entire season. So, um,
So he'll
I'll
last like
say
6 weeks.
yeah, but those 6 weeks are gonna be awesome. I have him as my RB 4. I have him the highest of the three. Drew has him the lowest of the three. So it's
Yeah,
kind of.
I'm out on HN. I don't think he's
I
gonna
thought I
get
was. I
nearly the pass.
really.
I think he's gonna hit. I think his carries are gonna skyrocket compared to last year, and I think his catches and his touches in the passing game are gonna plummet, and that's gonna lead to not a top 5 running back. It's just not
I
gonna
think he's
happen.
gonna get. to be honest. But if he doesn't, I think he'll be fine because their coach said he's going to carry him off the field after the games.
What's the stat though? They figured out like every time a running back catches the ball, it's like worth 1.5 or 2 or I
Yeah,
can't remember the
yeah. No,
number
it
carries.
is. It is. And so
So
if Malik Willis doesn't get him the ball at all and out of the
they're gonna
backfield,
turn him into a running back instead of a Swiss Army knife weapon, and that I just don't. And then the team's terrible. Like, how often do we see top 5 running backs on terrible teams? The answer is not that often, and I already have my guy on a terrible team that I think is going to finish top 5. So,
I think if
I'm out on him.
if he stays healthy the whole season, he's gonna workload his way. He's good enough where he's gonna break some more. It's like, but I'm worried about.
I
his
think if he stays
longevity
healthy the
this year.
whole season, he's still only going to workload himself to like RB6, RB7.
I think his upside's higher than that. But regardless, I don't think
Disagree.
he really is gonna stay that healthy because I don't think he can take that workload, and that's the concern for me. But I don't want to say a lot more about him. I'm gonna keep moving because, like we said, at their ADPs, those guys are really not on our draft
We
board,
need to
and I
talk
don't think they
Jonathan
should
Taylor.
be
We didn't even like
yours. Oh
talk
yeah,
about him at all.
he's I don't.
He's going too high again.
How do I explain that to me? The way he's playing, like he had a great year last year, but he wasn't expected to have that great of a year, and I think he's going to go down. His workload was huge last year. To me, he's like the same player as like a Josh Jacobs or a Derrick Henry this year, and way more expensive. And so I'd rather have guys like that.
Fair enough. I like him a little more than that, but
I just mean as far as like how he's playing, like he's not catching the ball, and
he does the leapfrog thing or like the flip flop thing. So like he finishes as the RB1 and then everybody drafts him as the RB1 and he's terrible. And then everybody's like, "Oh, Jonathan Taylor is injury prone and terrible. I'm going to draft him really late." And then he finishes as a top 5 running back and then that just keeps cycling back and forth. So don't play leapfrog on Jonathan Taylor. When he has a bad year,
yeah.
draft him the next year.
Coming from someone that
Coming
had
off a
him,
good year, don't draft him. It's that
coming from
simple.
someone that had him in redraft last year and saw how awesome he was, don't draft him this year. Period.
He's just going entirely too high. And unfortunately, I know
Yeah,
why.
I got him as
because
a second round pick last year, like a late second round. I got him as I had the first pick in the draft, and I got him at the 2-3 turn. I think
Yeah.
I actually drafted him as a third round pick.
100%.
Great value there.
100%.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and this is coming from what you and I have already talked about, David, how like we have a very clear like top 5 picks, and then when you're drafting 6, 7, 8, it's like you have to reach for somebody, you feel like, and it just sucks. So for those of you picking in those spots, I'm sorry. It's that part of the draft I wouldn't want to be picking in this year. Should we talk about number 4? Because we freaking love him.
He's the guy I want, and I said earlier, I'll go back to it.
He's why I took the 10. He's the reason why I took the number 10 pick in my big money league.
I think I'm going to come out of the draft with him this year. I think it's going to be him and either Jefferson or CD. Maybe not CD, we'll figure it out, but end of the first round, best pick you can make, I think, right now is Ashton Genty in a 10-team league. I think his ADP is like,
I get the allure. I get the allure of Jefferson because we're Vikings fans, but I'm actually rising on CD a little bit because of the Cowboys offense.
He's been getting clamped up by Caleb Banks, but we'll see. We'll see. Apparently, Caleb Banks bit Puka today. I have no idea if that was true or not, but
I don't think anybody consistently locks up CD Lamb. I'm not worried about him.
Genty, I'm so excited for. Better offense, I think.
Love him.
Better O-line, better weapons.
We've already talked about it 100 times, right? He's going to get all
the
work.
So much about him that I almost feel like I don't want to repeat all of it. He's going to be great.
We'll make it a 5-point list maybe. So the team is going to improve. Like they were so when I say the team, I should specify the offense. Like the offense was so historically bad last year that there's no way they do it again. I've mentioned it on other podcasts. If they score like 10 or 12 more touchdowns or something than they did last year, they still would have been only the 20th best offense in the NFL. So they can be a not great offense this year, and the number of touchdowns can go way up as an offense. So the offense is going to improve. Clint Kubiak is an amazing run schemer. He is going to make Ashton Genty a star and a focal point of the offense, and in addition to Brock Bowers, I think. I I really, really love the fact that he doesn't have any competition for touches. I love that he's versatile in the passing game. Um, he kind of reminds me of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, it's a fair enough comp. I think he can do everything on the field, and I'm just excited, honestly, just to see what he does
And
with a better
you can get
offense.
great value on him.
And Kirk,
You can get him early second round in your drafts oftentimes.
when Kirk's in the game, like he's gonna dump the ball to him all the time. And honestly, when Mindo's in the game, I think it'll be pretty similar. As a rookie quarterback, your running back's your safety blanket when you're not a rusher. So I'm excited.
100%. All in on Ashton Genty for sure. Number 3, we got the guy who I think David and I would, if we were drafting 5th, would click immediately. Christian McCaffrey. I don't know what to say.
God,
I don't
he's
like him.
terrifying, bro. Because he
You have
gets
to
hurt
do.
every other year.
You have to do it. You have to do it. You live and die by the sword. He can finish as the RB1. There's not many guys that can. So
He's already dealing with soft tissue injuries though in training
it's just
camp.
don't worry. It's just tightness.
Yeah, as every other person is from the freaking electrical substation, bro. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there's an X page now, and it's blowing up. Somebody's the electrical substation. It's pretty funny.
Mike Evans is back
Um,
at practice at least already, so
yeah,
maybe CMC will be back pretty quick.
yeah.
But I mean, no, his upside is ridiculous. I mean, he's got RB1 upside. Obviously, if he stays healthy, he's probably will be the RB1.
And if you don't get those 4 guys, it's like those 4 guys are tier 1, and then Christian McCaffrey's on his own island in tier 2, and then everybody else is after, right? So, if you're drafting 5th, draft CMC. If
yeah,
you're drafting
and
6th and he falls to you, draft CMC. If
yeah,
you're drafting
draft
7th and
CMC
he
and
falls to
pray.
you, draft CMC.
Because if he gets hurt,
Um,
GG's on the season. But if
he's the only
you're
guy outside of the
probably winning your championship.
he's the only guy out of the top 4 that can finish number 1 overall in fantasy, regardless of position.
Yep,
I think.
100%. Yeah. And I mean,
Um,
we saw the 49ers have way less weapons in their receiving game than they have in the past some years, and they're banged up already. And so CMC might be catching the ball even more than normal this year.
100%. 100%. Number 2, we've got Bijan Robinson. Um, we like him. We like him a lot. He's uber talented. The offense scares us a little bit. That's why we have him behind number 1, who's Jahmyr Gibbs. Um, but if you like him more than you like Gibbs, go ahead. I'm not gonna fault you for that decision.
We
Um,
I think I alluded to it in a previous episode, but for me, the biggest difference is I see their workloads being pretty similar. Also, bonus points for Gibbs. Pacheco's already hurt. He somehow got a injury with his shoulder when they weren't even on having pads on yet. So,
bonus points for Gibbs. He's got the easiest schedule in the NFL,
yeah,
and they're gonna be winning every game.
and their coach is already talking about how they want him to get the ball more and his workload's going to go up. So if he stays healthy, he's going to be great. But the difference for me with Bijan, other than that, is just I think he's less explosive. He doesn't make big plays like Gibbs does. He doesn't have a lot of long runs. Gibbs breaks feels like when I watch him, he breaks like a 40-yard touchdown every game.
I think
Obviously not all
Bijan
the
does.
time.
I think Bijan does plenty of that too. I just
Bijan has like the least 20+ yard carries of any.
yeah, but I think it's a product of everybody focusing on him more.
It's fair, but that's the difference for me. I think he's a little bit less explosive.
For me it's totally the offense. It's totally the
That's
offense.
fair.
Like
I'm
I want
all in on
the
Gibbs, though.
superstar running back on an amazing offense with the easiest schedule in football, and I want an amazing running back who gets a ton of work on a kind of mediocre to bad offense. I just want that guy a little bit less. It's as simple as
That's
that.
the difference.
Um,
Either one is going to be good. Don't
would you still take Bijan 2, David, if you were drafting second?
I think Bijan. I think I like Puka over him. We'll talk about our receiver rankings. Don't want to spoil too much.
So
but
David
that
and
might
I
be
are
me.
different there because I'd be drafting Bijan
And
3.
you would be taking CD potentially, or we'll talk. We'll save that for the next
Not
episode.
CD, Jamar Chase. And I'd be taking
Jamar
Jamar Chase over Bijan as well.
Yeah, and we'll talk about
Jamar's
that
my number 2
in the
player.
wide receiver episode. So that's kind of a wrap on the
Lions.
running backs.
Lions, Cowboys, Bengals. Draft players from those teams. They have amazing schedules. They're going to be favored in almost all their games, and their defenses are not special. Those are my three offenses to target.
Yeah, that's about all I got to say about the running backs. I'm excited to
If
talk
you have the
receivers
number
now
one
after
pick and
that
you
little
don't draft
talk.
Gibbs, I am very, very sorry for you. You will
Yeah,
regret
me
it.
too.
Um, David and I drafted dynasty teams this weekend. Restarted up the dynasty league. We're pretty excited about that. I'm in full fantasy football mode now that I've done a draft. It's crazy how the first draft just like you're in it. Um,
It's a really interesting spot to be fresh off a startup draft in Dynasty. Like, you just
made
really
me
don't know what to
made me lose a
expect.
lot of respect for keep trade cut.
Yeah, they're idiots. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually looking after the draft because I was like, I wanted to trade for Luther Burden, and I told Paul, our uncle, to draft him mostly because I didn't want Drew to get him. But
Dick.
um, well, there goes the PG warning. Um, anyways, I
It's not
wanted
a
to
swear
trade for him
word.
after,
It's not
and
explicit.
I went to go and keep trade cut, and I was like, maybe Paul wants Devonta Smith. I put him in the trade calculator. He's ranked right next to Luther Burden dynasty wise. They're like 17,
Who?
18. Devonta Smith.
And Luther Burden?
Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. Like, what is happening? Because Devonta Smith, I drafted like 7 rounds later than him, and he was ranked right next to him. So that was a glaring issue and keep trade cut to me.
Well, what my issue is that Keep Trade Cut has the guy who has the number 10 out of 10 quarterbacks and the number 10 out of 10 wide receivers ranked as the best team.
AKA Dave Becker.
Like, that's not, you can't be the worst at two of the four positions and be the best team. Like, that's just crazy to me. Um,
He has no quarterbacks, no wide receivers, no tight ends.
yeah, I saw that he's ripping Cade Otton as the tight end right now. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, crazy to me. And he hogged all the running backs. Like, Dave, I love you, but you ruined the dynasty draft. You hogged all the running backs, and then everybody started reaching for running backs, and it just made the draft less fun. And you've got a lot of great running backs, more than you can start, and you're gonna pay the price because Cam Ward is your quarterback one, and Cade Otton is your tight end one, and
He didn't care more. He missed out on Carnell Tate because he didn't get it.
so he couldn't even build the stack.
So his wide
So
receiver two is now Omar Cooper Jr. Or no, Casey Conception from the Cleveland Browns.
and he drafted Omar Cooper when he had Garrett Wilson already. I mean, just lots of questions about that draft.
Let's not keep ripping on him though. Don't want to talk about someone behind their back here.
He's
Uh,
welcome to listen. I'll tell him how I feel.
I already told him how you felt. It was hilarious. Um.
I'll give
Anyways.
him. I'm gonna see him this weekend. I'll give him plenty of smack.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Drew's headed to Scotland.
yeah, I have to go overseas again for another wedding. This one's gonna be tough because I don't have vacation days, so I'm literally going for like 3 days.
And Mr.
Um,
Cutie over here has got to wear a kilt.
I do get to wear a kilt. You get to see these pasty white thighs.
We're gonna post that right on Fantasy Facts social media. That will be a meme for like the rest of time. Just you wait.
Hey man, gotta look the part when in Scotland. So, um,
We're
yeah.
kind of spitballing. We should probably
Anything to add about the dynasty? I just like to share
yeah.
share what's going on with everybody
No,
in our
I'd
our
say
fantasy
honestly,
leagues.
maybe at some point we can do a little more break. We could just do an overview of our dynasty league for an episode, just a bonus episode or
I don't
something.
know if we're gonna have time, dude. We got so much content to get through before the
At
season
some
starts.
point,
But
even if
why
it's
don't you just why don't you just for the people rip off your roster?
well, I got Jaden Daniels at the QB1, and then Hampton's my RB1, Javante's my RB2 because Dave decided to take all the running backs, so I ended up having to just take him as a safety blanket.
Oh, don't worry,
And
my running backs are far worse.
and then and then I have Rashi Rice as my wide receiver one. A little concerning, but I still think he'll be okay volume wise. And then I took Igbuka. I'm excited about him. I think long term he's a good play. I think he's gonna have kind of a JSN career arc. Then I got Tucker Kraft at tight end. Very excited. And my flexes are Swift, Devontae Smith, and my super flex is Jackson Dart. And then just for off the bench, I got
Yeah,
Malik
young guys on the
Willis.
bench you're excited about.
I got Malik Willis as my QB3, just as a safety blanket. I have Chris Rodriguez on the bench, who I think could end up actually being playable, and Tony Pollard's kind of a safety blanket. I did pick up Keaton Mitchell after Mike McDaniel's comments, what we talked about. My bench receivers are old as frick with Mike Evans, and then I have Michael Pittman, and then I picked up Tank Dell off his injury because I actually think there's potential for him to be decent, especially because he's CJ Stroud's best friend, and when he played, he loved him. And he looks good. Good for Tank Dell. I'm glad to see him looking healthy. And then I got Malachi Fields, rookie for the Giants, just because I have Jackson Dart, and if he turns out to be the true number 2 target there, he could actually be a stack. And then I got Michael Pittman. I don't know if I said that already. And then Malik Washington of the uh, Dolphins.
You built the most powerful stack in football, Malik Willis and
Yeah. And then I also
Washington.
picked up their rookie Chris Bell coming off the ACL there. He's on my IR. And then I have Fernando Mendoza on my taxi squad. I drafted him like the 12th round because he
Yeah,
can
David
fly.
got good value on Mendoza. I was just getting ready to pull the trigger.
And then the other guy on my taxi squad that I think has potential is Kalen Black from the 49ers. He was from Indiana, played with Mendoza, obviously. And I think he's potentially going to be the backup to CMC because Jordan James, we were talking about, I think is his name, about I thought he was the backup. He broke his ribs. So, anyways, and I got Aller and Taylon Green, both young rookie quarterbacks for the Browns and Steelers on my taxi squad as well, just in case they turn into anything.
David's whole taxi squad is quarterbacks. Pretty much.
Which is funny
Um,
because my 2 starting quarterbacks are young, so I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. But
yep. I went in a very future focused mode in the draft, just by the virtue of who I ended up with. The first 2 rounds specifically, I got Malik Neighbors, so that kind of made me think in a more forward facing way. I did go kind of old at quarterback just because I love the quarterback draft class coming up, so I feel like I'll be able to draft a young quarterback that I like if I want to. So I've got Mahomes at quarterback. I've got Brees Hall, who I've talked about why I like his upside in the future even more than I like it this year. I've got Jordan Mason at the RB2. As we said, the running backs were very picked over. But I do think Jordan Mason's going to have a solid year for the Vikings. Went pretty heavy in the wide receiver realm early, so I've got Puka Nakua, Malik Neighbors, and George Pickens. Again, all guys that I really like their future output. They're both all 25 or younger. I've got Parker Washington, who is also only 24 over in Jacksonville. I got Tyler Warren at tight end, another guy who I think the future is brighter than this year, but I'm really excited about him at the tight end position going forward. Got some guys on the bench I'm excited about. I love Jordan Tyson from the New Orleans Saints. Really excited about his future prospects. Um, I have J.K. Dobbins, who I think is going to be a playable RB2 option, especially at the start of the season. I have Kyler Murray as my QB3, so very stoked to hear the news that he's going to be the starter. Um, and took Cyrus Allen. He's a rookie that I've got a lot of excitement for as well from the Chiefs. Sounds like he's been creating some buzz. And obviously, I have Mahomes there, so if that was to turn into a stack, that would be great. Matt Stafford is my QB2. I didn't say that. And then I've got Jacoby Lane, Antonio Williams, Eli Stowers on the taxi squad. And I also have Ty Simpson on the taxi squad. Just made logical sense for my roster, even though I don't love Ty Simpson, being the Matt Stafford and Puka Nakua manager. It just made sense that you almost need Ty Simpson to be good. So that's the squad for me. If I was making my predictions, I'd say I'm one of the guys out of the playoffs this year, but we'll see. And I'm okay with that because I drafted my team with the identity of a more future focus. So
yeah, I'm gonna jump right into the last segment because we are going a little bit over on our time compared to normal. So today's verse is Matthew 6:24. Says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. This verse specifically talks about putting like money over God, but I think this goes for also anything in the world. You can't serve the world and God. You have to be willing to put away your worldly desires to serve God. It's a pretty basic way of putting it. I don't want to go super in detail or as much as I do normally just because we're going so long on time. But it's just a good reminder that you can't really be focused on worldly things, serving the world, worrying about the worldly things when eternity's at stake. And we've talked about that a lot in other episodes. So I encourage you, if you haven't watched those, to go back and look at those. Just a good reminder that to follow that godly path and to help others around you. Like we talked about in the last episode, loving others around you. Show them that love of God rather than the world of hatred that we live in. So that's all for you guys. And yeah, thanks for listening and looking forward to the wide receiver episode.
Yep. Thank you, David. Good segue. We'll be covering wide receivers on the next episode. I do think with my travel this weekend, there's a chance that wide receiver episode gets out a little late. So I'm just going to give you guys that heads up warning in advance. If it isn't out when it normally is, we apologize. We are still working on it. Just got some logistics with me traveling. We are always dropping these over on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, the Fantasy Facts Podcast. We're on X at The Fantasy Facts, TikTok and Instagram, fantasy.facts. As always, facts is spelled F-A-X. And unless David has anything to add, we will sign off and we will talk wide receivers soon. Let's go with soon. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.